Hello, welcome. Glad you could stop by. Now, if you are here for the 14 Days of Christmas with MK Gunn, Some Assemblage Required, and Janet Fritz from Galaxy Girl, don't panic, you are in the right spot. Now, I know that the layout you might have seen a sneak peek of doesn't look anything like Christmas or winter paper themed, but it is. I was talking with a friend of mine, and she had a huge pack of Aspen papers left over from years ago from Close to My Heart. So we challenged each other in November to use up our Aspen paper. It is November 30th at the time that I am recording this voiceover, and no, I have not completely gone through the Aspen paper packs. So you will probably be seeing more of these in these 14 days of Christmas. But for today, I'm using a winter themed paper pack in a non-traditional way to meet the 14 Days of Christmas challenge. So I'm trying to meet a personal challenge and the challenge of the YouTube Hop. I'm showing you here how I like to place photos on mats when there's multiple photos. I like to do the outside too and then the inside one, because you don't necessarily, like, your outside border could be the same, but that inside gap can be different. But by putting the last one in, or the middle one in last, excuse me, you know that you can have that gap the same. So I dry fit all of my papers here. I did the stripes. The colors just work so well with our furniture and walls, and obviously our son's shirt there. And I'll tell you more about the story behind these smiles, because it's a funny little story. So as I was putting this layout together, I'm like, oh, I need something more. I didn't want snowflakes necessarily, but I thought the stars would give some of that twinkling starlight nighttime that you know, the feel of winter. But again, I didn't want to have a dark layout, so I am using Twilight and Outdoor Denim ink. Both of those colors have retired from Close to My Heart, but are in the Aspen paper packs. And on my stencil, I'm just creating kind of, you can't really see it on the screen as well, but it's a faded star. Now, this is something that I learned last month when I did the Craft IQ challenge, and it's called reverse stamping with stencils. So all of that ink that's on top of the stencil, I'm going to go ahead and harvest that, as they say, or utilize it by misting over it. And then I have some card bases here that I'm going to go ahead and press into that misted ink, and now I kind of have some mixed media backgrounds for a set of cards. And I think the next day that we do this on Saturday, these will be I'll do a 6-card note set with these cards. And I wanted to show you here that I use the little flags that are at the 2 and the 9 so that I can offset the same, like it's over 3 inches and down 2 inches, the same place on the stencil, so it kind of just looks like it was a bigger stencil and not two halves. One thing that I realized as I was editing this video is that I had meant to rotate the one half 90 degrees so that my stenciling went kind of as a V across the 2 pages, but I was such in a mode of, okay, I'm using up this paper, and I did left side then right side, and I did them exactly the same without rotating them. So for me, it's a glaring thing, but I think as time passes and people are looking at the scrapbook pages that are finished, they're not going to see that little mess up. Or if they do, it'll be a good memory. But do you see here now how these pages are exactly the same, where if I would have turned it 90 degrees, they would have been kind of facing into each other and into the photo. So if you do this kind of a layout, I highly recommend you do that. So here I had taken some circle punches that I have, and I'm just kind of dry fitting things. The little message popped up for me to remind you, if you haven't subscribed to my channel or the other gals in the 14 Days of Christmas Hop, go ahead and do that just to show a support. It takes effort to create these videos and to try to be informative, and one of the ways that doesn't cost you any money that you can support those creators is liking the videos and subscribing to their channels. So again, going back to, I had punched a whole bunch of circles in just the different patterns and in the cardstock that coordinates with the Aspen papers. And I'm just dry fitting things to kind of get an idea of what I wanted to do. There was a sentiment bracket punch that I had grabbed, and that's what this is, but I cut them in half. Well, then I decided I needed to have them all the same length so that when I tuck them in behind, or if I end up using them tucked in behind, they would be the same length, so it was a little easier to get them all at the same height. So that's what I'm doing here, just lining them up and chopping them off. So there were 2 medallions that I cut in half, giving me the 4 sides. So I put 3 there. I'm trying the 3rd one over here. It just doesn't feel balanced. I feel like with the 3 circles and 3 circles, it's not going to work. And then right under the big circles, I'm not feeling that. So I know there's people, and maybe they do their dry fitting off camera, but I like to show people kind of the evolution of the layout, especially when I'm not following a sketch. And this one I'm not following a sketch. So off camera, I went ahead and cut out the letters Silly Boy, and those are 2 thicknesses thick. And this is the last of my creme brulee cardstock. I don't even have a full sheet left. I went and looked up any paper that had creme brulee in it, and if I had any of it, I went through it to see if I had any scraps, and I did find a few scraps enough to do this title, and there's a few pieces left over as I continue to use up this Aspen paper. But for now, creme brulee is definitely going to be sorely missed, because I know there's several paper packs that I have, but I don't have any of the cardstock to go with it. So I thought I would try that over there with the circle in the upper right corner. I didn't like that. I've glued the letters down now, and then I can move it around a little easier. I think this is where it's going to end up. And then I had this, I'm not sure the color. It could be Glacier, but the back side of it is pale enough that it's kind of like a 2nd generation or even a 3rd generation of Twilight. And so it just works with the colors in this paper pack. And I felt like I needed something in the bottom corner here in that outdoor denim. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Cricut spatula and pull off the half circle and replace it here with the outdoor denim. And that just, for me, it just gave some balance to the page so that you're kind of moving across it. And then with that big circle in the upper right corner, I thought my journaling could be again on the back of this. And it must be Glacier cardstock, but it was in my scrap bin and I haven't pulled out my samples to take a look. So the story behind these photos, I should tell you, because I'm adding sequins and this is going to be the end of the layout, is our son going into preschool, or going into picture day at preschool, he's like, what, when they say smile, it's, we always laughed at him because he smiled so hard it didn't look good. So we were trying to teach him, instead of smiling, why don't you pretend to laugh? And he's just kind of looking at me like, really? And then he started to laugh, and then he was cracking himself up. And part of it was, he's like, well, what do I laugh at? I'm like, well, tell me a joke. So he was cracking up at his own joke. So I have this all done. I've attached all the sequins, and I just decided it needed a little more. I had kind of smushed in one of the stencilings, and so to blend that in, I went ahead and took my Lagoon shimmer brush and added some splatters. There you can see where I kind of had smudged on the stenciling, but now with the shimmer brush, unless you're really up close and looking at it, you just don't see it. So I love this little face. He's grown up, he's 13 now, but those are good memories to relive. So I hope you're enjoying the hop. Be sure to check out in the video description all the other gals that are playing along. It's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays throughout the entire month of December. We're going after Christmas. Here's how you can connect with me on social media. Here's another video that you may be interested in, and I invite you again to subscribe to my channel. Be kind to yourself. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.